Welcome to my solar addiction. Today's video, best value 48-volt battery over 200 amp hours, part 2.
In setting up my system, I basically used a diagram from the manual for the battery that showed how you should parallel your batteries when you connected it to an inverter or whatever. So the first image we see here is going to be what I used for this system. So basically I have 3 batteries. The one in the middle is the master. And then we have a cable going from the master positive to the positive on the battery on the left. And then a negative from the master battery going to the negative on the battery on the left. And then we do the same thing to the right. We have a positive going from the positive bus bar on the master to the battery on the right's positive bus bar, and then from the negative on the master to the negative on the second battery on the right, it's negative bus bar. So like we said, there's a 600 amp bus bar in each one of these batteries. It allows you to do this without an external bus bar system like I have. Now, like I said earlier, would use the external bus bar so I can attach different batteries to it and rearrange my system from one inverter to another setup, which is what I'm going to do next with my change in my system. But basically it's that diagram, but take out the 18 kPV in the diagram and put the negative and positive bus bars in its place. That's what I have in my system. Okay? And I could have, because I have two inverter system, as we can see in this diagram, I could have done 4 batteries without an external bus bar. So for you folks out there that are not trying to do what I do, as far as, you know, being able to switch things up, and that's why I wanted that external bus bar plus expansion infinitum. You might want to just do this and have 4 batteries, 2 inverters if you need 2 inverters, because your loads tell you you need that much, or your load test tells you need that much. You can get 2 18 kPVs, 4 batteries, and I'd be willing to bet, unless you're living way beyond your means and have a super huge house. I mean, but if you're living in a house that's, you know, reasonable square footage, you don't have 5 air conditioning units, as far as like a friend of mine I just went to dinner with the other day, we were talking solar, and he had, you know, a 5-ton unit and 2 3-ton units, and the house was definitely not designed to be energy efficient. And basically he's like, oh, it'll never work for me. And you're right. I'm saying, yes, sir, you're right. It'll never work for you. Unless you just you buy the property around you to make a solar farm. But yeah, it's not for everybody. And that's why your system configuration is going to be based on your numbers. So if you can get away with 1 18 kPV or any one inverter, you could parallel the batteries like the first diagram. If your system requires 2 inverters, you can, without an external bus bar, parallel 4 of these batteries and probably achieve your goal of powering your house, your whole house, including the big air conditioning unit outside. Okay? 5-ton, 4-ton, doesn't matter. And you won't even need a soft starter if you use 2 inverters, I promise you. So when you're paralleling things, batteries, when you're paralleling these batteries, you may need to buy a parallel cable, a set of parallel cables, or you might want to make your own parallel cables. And because I have 3 of them and they all come with their own cables, and I did buy one of the parallel cables, I'll show you the difference between the 2. That you might want to use one of those cables they gave you and just put another N on the other end. But the cables that come just to connect the battery to an inverter are not as long as the parallel cables. And I'm going to show you that. So if you're thinking about making your own parallel cable instead of buying one, the 2 on the left are your cables that comes with the battery. The one on the right is a parallel cable, and we can see And it's pretty much about 15 inches longer, 14 and a half. Probably going to be 16 once you make the connector, because you're going to lose the end of that. But then you add the connector on it, it'll be added another inch or so back. So yeah, about a good, 14 inches, definitely. So it's going to be a little tight, but putting those connectors on is not a problem. And if you have this situation anyway, you're going to have to probably make your own cable to go from the master battery, which in my case, this is my master. And I don't know what happened to my label, but this cable and this one, two in the back, and these two here, negatives, double 2-aught, run all the way from that battery box coming in here. There's those two, there's two. Then they go down through these pipes, this conduit, and then they come in down here and they connect to here, 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 and here. With these Amphenol connectors that I added to my battery cable. You will have to buy some of those Amphenol connectors, because when you're paralleling these systems from the master battery, you may have the batteries parallel together, one slave on the right, one slave on the left, master battery in the middle is how I did mine. But from my master battery, I have to have a double 2-aught going from the Amphenol connectors on the positive and double 2-aughts coming from the Amphenol connectors on the negatives to my main bus bar or to my inverter, as you see in the diagram. Basically, I'm doing a same diagram that you would use for a single inverter with 3 batteries, but instead of connecting to the inverter, I'm connecting to a main bus bar. All right, because we got some weather changes coming, I'm not going to totally unwire this thing. But this positive on this battery, which is one of the slave batteries, connects right here. Then that cable runs all along here. This is it going through that conduit, and it comes out right here. Now I need to hook that on here. I was unwiring everything. It's gonna plug in on one of these 3. All right, but because we're gonna have all 4 of them actually connected, I've got to kind of do it in a certain order. So this one that's already connected is this one up here, this positive that runs through this liquid tight conduit. And then it comes out over here and it goes, it's in the back, going into this liquid tight conduit in the back here, which comes all the way down, and it eventually comes out over here to be this connection right here, which goes to my fused positive and then to the bus bar. Okay, and we got the same thing going with the negatives. We've got these two negatives. One's going through a conduit there. This one's going through another one up top. Comes back up through here. They come out here. In the back, you can see that one. And then here. And those wind up going through this conduit and this conduit. From this box to this box. And here's one of the negatives still connected. And this is the other one, which I'm about to reconnect. And you're gonna see how much fun it is working with these angle connectors, trying to get them into the tight space that exists there on the side. So I'm gonna tighten this up a little bit for you and show you how much fun that's gonna be. So this is the other one going to my main bus bar, and I want two double 2-aught for each. But first you got to get it through a hole here, which let me show you how that looks a little bit closer. It's really tight, guys. If you look, you can't even just turn it to the side and get it through like that. So I'm gonna have to put the camera down and lift up on the box right here so I can create a little bit more space to get it in there. All right, so you can see from this side what it looks like. Doesn't just fit down in there. Okay, so where there's a will, there's a way. You tighten it up again. See what's happening, hopefully. My big head will stay out the way. And we're gonna pick up on the box, get it underneath. Get it to where it belongs. Give it some slack. And then see, once we picked up on the box, we could get it into here and then hopefully connect it like that. Okay, so that's my two negatives. They're gonna run through the conduit all the way down to my main bus bar. Now, I've got same thing happening with my positives. So I need to put this one back down here. Same situation. Gonna have to pick up on the box, get it in. So personally, I don't have my boxes screwed down. Only way I'm gonna do that is if I know I'm getting inspected. Because I'm always changing stuff. So I just kind of leave it. Gravity alone is keeping it there. Plus this is helping to keep it from moving all this conduit. So we gotta get it down in here. Lift up, get it in. My wire's doing what they're supposed to. And then once we're through, we can connect it, hopefully. Hard doing this with one hand. Let me pull this back out again. Okay, Yeah, that ain't gonna work. I'm gonna have to go back to using both of my hands, folks. Sorry. This right up here. I gotta pick up, put it in. I remember there was another little trick I had learned, and that was to unscrew the sleeve on it. Get the sleeve up, because the sleeve is making it so fat that it can't maneuver. And once I unscrew the sleeve, then I can get this, give me some slack, get this on, and then put the sleeve back down. Sleeve back on. Then get it close to position and connect it. There we go. So now I'm gonna need to get this positive's gotta go down here. Similar situation. That one goes through pretty good. So we're gonna put that one on this end. See if we can get the one for that battery over here first. Let me try and get this negative hooked up. Similar experience. There we go. That one's gonna go on this end. We're gonna need one more from there to over here. All right? Catch that? I was too close there. I was too close there. So, we got this one ready to connect, which is the negative going through this conduit over to here for this battery. And we've got the positive coming from here. It's going all the way around to here. And it's coming out right here. And this is it right here. We're about to connect that one up. But I don't want to do it yet because I want to get the other connector in ready to connect so they don't block each other. Because when you got all four of them, it gets kind of tight. So let's work on over here. Those cables run. And let's do, let's run this end through here so we can have that done. And let's get this guy. Here. There we go. Like that. Put that in there like that. And I need a positive. Let's see what we got going on here. There. I need one of these guys. Is this the one I need? I hope so. First, connect it down here. Probably need all of that. Okay, all right, we're good there. We turn this way. this guy down here. All right, so now this cable just came from over there, and we can connect it right here. Once again, kind of hard to do with one hand while holding this damn camera. That one's on. I don't know what happened to my camera head dealie I had. I think the dog grabbed it and she hit it because it smelled like her daddy. All right, so I got that one kind of on there. I'm gonna have to lift up on the cabinet. So we're gonna go back over here. Once you get all four in there, guys, like I said, it's a little tight. So you might have to lift up on the cabinet, get it in there. Okay. What's the day? Come on. Remember this though too well. How exciting. There we go. That's it. Click, click, click. All four of those are in. Now we got to fight with this side. So let's see if we can get a better angle on that. Good enough for government work. All right. Get this one. Cable in. All right. This is coming from this battery. One. This one's always a pain. Cool. All right. There. Everybody's sitting flush. Didn't screw anything up. All right, so now we're wired up in parallel. Oops. Okay. So these two, this positive goes to this battery. This positive runs all the way over to that battery. This negative that's connected on this side is from that battery. And this negative is from this battery going right here. So now they're in parallel. All right, and these are the ones going to the mains. Okay, cool beans. And we're all connected up down here, this and this, because I want to get my system back up and running, at least on these three batteries, while we're supposed to have some sun the next couple of days. And like the cabinets that come with, well, you got to buy them, actually. I'm not going to tell you, I got a little deal on that. It's part of my negotiation. They're lockable. Not crazy about the locks. I've actually locked it and opened it without the key once. So they're not the best locks on the planet. So, but I don't have any kids in the house, so everybody stays away from this stuff. If I got guests, they're with me. This power room is kind of off limits to folks when they come over, unless they're with me. All right, but really good looking batteries. I wanted mine on the wall because we live in New Orleans, and even though where I live is the highest point in the city, that's why it's called the Point. If anything, the worst that could happen is they actually have water come in. This place is never flooded, like I said, but that would be the worst possible scenario. So I wanted them off the ground a little bit, because if this area floods more than that, or even up to my wiring trough bottom, it's over, folks. It's time to cancel Christmas. So let me turn this thing back on. Let me make sure I turn everything off in the house that's sensitive, like computers and TVs and stuff, and then I'm going to restart this with just those 3 batteries. Okay? And then we'll be able to run the house on that and see how well it does with just those 3 and not including these other 6 LLV2s. All right, so I hope you got something out of that paralleling part of the video. But now we're going to get into probably what everybody's waiting for, the comparison to other batteries in the same amp hour configuration or close to it. And that's going to be part 3. And we hope you enjoy the information that's in there. And I hope you stick around to actually watch part 3 if you've watched part 2 and part 1. We thank you for watching and hope to see you in the next video.
Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed our video.